Hey, hello. We are recording. Happy Tuesday. What? Didn't I just put out a podcast yesterday on Monday? We're going again on Tuesday? Yes, we are, people, because I have some things to say. Now I have a platform to say them on. Okay, so this is Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching. Welcome to Believe You Are a Good Mom. And nope, no intro. You know what that means. You can go to Spotify and see the video. So exciting. um, let's see. Today we are talking about dropping the war. What? Why would we do that? So I'm Emily Wardrop from Drop the War Life Coaching. Okay. What are we dropping, Emily? We're dropping power struggles with our littles. This is what I've been talking about for a couple of years now. Okay. So I've got all sorts of content about this on dropthewarlifecoach.com, on my Facebook, on my Instagram. And I realized because I've been talking about it for so long that I don't actually talk about it that much anymore. I'm tired of hearing myself talk about power struggles. Let's talk about something else. But it still is the name of the business. Let's talk about power struggles for a sec, okay? Because I was in one this morning and it reminded me that I don't talk about this that much anymore. So let's do it again. Here's the thing. Agency. It's the real deal. Okay. So if you have toddlers, especially, they are learning about their agency and they are asserting their agency, right? So they have their will, we have our will, and we are in a power struggle. We're both pulling on our ends of the tug of war rope, and you know what that feels like and what it looks like, but I will demonstrate. So got the older kids out the door, and then it was time to take the 3-year-old to preschool. So she does not like putting clothes on. So she was naked and she was saying, "It's so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what happens. It's fall now. And did you know that clothes keep you warm? You can put your clothes on and then you won't be so cold." She was not having any of this. She just wanted to whine and cry on the kitchen floor, saying how cold it was. And I had the clothes right there in my hand. I wanted to put them on her body, but she did not want to put them on. She just wanted to whine about being cold. Power struggle, her will. All she wanted to do was sit there on the cold floor of the kitchen saying how cold it was. I wanted what's best for her, right? That's all we ever want is what's best for our kids. I wanted to help her with her actual problem. I also wanted to get her to stop crying and whining for my sake and for hers and put her clothes on. And so then we could get to preschool, right? Not even an option to not wear clothes today. It was time to go, right? And when it's time to go, that's when the power struggle's the worst. Have you noticed this? At least it is for me. So bedtimes, morning times, time to go is the worst. Because there's actually like a time crunch. We have to be somewhere. We need to get in the car. Let's go. Put your clothes on, right? So I tapped into my wiser drop the war life coach brain and didn't worry about the time, didn't worry about my agenda. I just sat there. I sat on the little footstool right next to her on the floor with the clothes right there, ready when she was ready to put them on instead of like wrangling the alligator, right? Have you ever tried to put a diaper on a baby who just doesn't want a diaper change? Is like wrangling an alligator, right? Putting clothes on a 3-year-old doesn't want to be wearing clothes, but is whining and crying about being cold is kind of like wrangling an alligator. It's really, really fun. So I dropped that war. I just sat there by her and I was like, "Look, it's your favorite cozy pants. Let me know when you're ready to put them on." And I just sat there. And what did I do while I sat there? This is what I help you do as your life coach, is to figure out what to do while you're sitting there, because your brain is going. Your brain is going while you're sitting on that footstool and she is kicking and screaming on the floor, right? And what your brain is doing is going to affect everything else in that situation. So I, on purpose, was watching my thoughts and changing them from, "I cannot believe this. I'm so sure. Of course she's freezing because she won't put on these stinking clothes. And why does she never put on stinking clothes?" And blah, 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 blah. And what that makes that mean about me and that I'm a bad mom, right? There's all that, all those layers. So I dropped the war on all of those thoughts and I focused on my breathing. This is step number one. What you do to drop the power struggle war is that you breathe. Step number 1, your breath. Okay. Stop focusing on what the child is doing and pitching a fit and all your thoughts about that. And just breathe. We're going back to the basics here. This is what you do to drop the power struggle war is you breathe. So I took some breaths. I'm breathing. Cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the nose, right? Breathing, whatever, mouth, doesn't matter. Get some oxygen into your body and cleanse out the feelings that you're having with the breath. Okay, so I breathed. I calmed my nervous system is what I'm doing. So I am not in fight or flight. My body does not think that this toddler is a tiger anymore. My body is calm. Then I can go back to the thoughts. What do I want to think on purpose? I want to think, oh, yeah, she is probably cold, naked, laying there on the floor. So I picked her up and I bundled her into a blanket right there on this chair. I brought her into my office. I put her in that blanket right there and I got her all warm. And then I put on her clothes. Power struggle over, agenda handled. We went to preschool. That was it. So while I was cozying her in her blanket, I was thinking about how moms always say, I don't have time for this. We're trying to get to preschool. What you don't have time for is wrangling an alligator. What you do have time for is to breathe and cozy her up in a blanket and then get her in her clothes. I promise it took less time to do that than the alternative that happens sometimes too, because I'm far from perfect at any of this. And that's why I know about wrangling alligators, because that's what I try to do sometimes to get her to put on clothes. So, and yeah, I know you're all thinking, does she have sensory issues? Is it the tag on the clothes that she doesn't like? La, 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 all those things, whatever. We'll figure that out. The point is, when she has clothes on and she goes to school, she's fine in her clothes all day long. So I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but all I need to know for now is how to get her clothes on and get her to school. When she gets home, she's like, I want to take this off. But while she's at school, I haven't heard any reports anyway that she's trying to take her clothes off at school. So, point is breathe. Calm your own nervous system. So I hear this all the time. I just heard it this week on, can't remember now, but I listen to lots of parenting podcasts and they talk about, oh, I do remember what it was. It wasn't even a parenting. Well, he was talking about parenting actually. So Tony Overbay is a psychologist, something. It's one of those expert therapist people. And he was talking about parenting and he talked about kids pushing your buttons, right? That's a power struggle. The kids figure out what buttons to push. And there's my nurse texting me about my daughter with diabetes right now. P.S. Side note, I would love to coach you if your daughter has diabetes. So, talk about power struggle wars. Good night. There's even more things to have power struggles about with the diabetes. So if you know someone, now that you've heard this, you'll probably meet someone, send them my way. Okay. What are we talking about? Power struggle wars, something. Sorry, I should have turned my phone off. That was very distracting. But I should probably pay attention when the nurse texts me about the diabetes. I can hit pause on this. Hold on just a sec. Okay, I'm back. My husband's luckily on the text thread too, and he's really good about texting right back. So he handled it. And I remembered what I was talking about. I was on a tangent about Tony Overbay. He has a really great podcast called The Virtual Couch. He's got a few podcasts actually. But anyway, so he was actually talking about parenting this week and he was talking about pushing buttons. That's where we were. Okay, here's the thing. He just mentions in passing, like how you have to kind of like calm yourself and the blah, 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 blah. Right? That is what the parenting experts do a lot of. They say, don't let them push your buttons and then blah, 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 blah. And they teach you how to handle the situation, right? And that's great. Tap into all of that advice. Please do. That's awesome. I'm going to help you with that first part. Okay? Because I found that that's the trickiest part. I've learned all about the blah, 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 like how to handle the actual situation with the kid, but just controlling yourself, that's a lot harder than they make it sound. They're like, don't let them push your buttons. Don't get worked up. Just stay calm. All these like things like that. That's just a quick phrase that I'm like, Easier said than done, buddy. Have you ever had your button pushed? Right? And so that is what I help you do as your life coach, is that fraction segment of time. Let's get that dialed in. Okay. Peaceful parenting. I want you to feel peaceful. Okay. You're going to feel like your buttons are pushed. You're going to feel like you are in a power struggle war. You are going to feel all the feelings. What do you do with those? How do you feel those? And then how do you show up as the good mom that you are? All those things. That's what we work on in coaching. Okay. So breathe. Okay. That's the first step. If you're feeling yourself getting all up in the other feelings that don't feel so great, breathe yourself back down. Okay. Often we try to teach our kids how to breathe because we've actually learned this trick. They're getting all worked up. We just want them to breathe and calm down. We breathe. Okay. They are doing their thing. Their bodies can figure it out. They're a lot younger than we are. They're closer to just knowing naturally what to do with their bodies. But we have a lifelong amount of time, 40 years or so, 20 something, 30. Maybe you had kids younger than me. Yeah, that's a lot of years of not knowing what to do with emotions that we're like retraining our brain and our body to figure it out. Okay. So if your kid is getting all worked up and you're trying to get them to breathe, forget it. Just you breathe. Okay. And bonus, you'll model for them what to do instead of telling them how to breathe. You just breathe. Keep yourself under control. That is like step number one. And that step is not as easy as it sounds. That's what my whole coaching practice is built on. So if you need help with that, dropthewarlifecoach.com. I'd love to help you drop the power struggle wars, especially if you're worrying about your type 1 diabetes issues. Because you know what those are if you're a T1D mom. So, what else are we talking about? How to drop the war, my friends. This is how you do it. Breathe. Step number one is breathe. Process your own emotions. Get your own self figured out so then you can be curious about what's going on for them. Because when she's laying on the floor, kicking, screaming that she's freezing, and I'm all up in my head judging her, right? That's what I'm doing, judging her. She's 3. And it's like, of course she's going to act like a 3-year-old, but I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, hello, of course you're freezing. You won't put these clothes on. I'm trying to get you to put these clothes on. Anything in that realm that sounds like that, like, let's just breathe ourselves back down to love and compassion and peace and calm and caring about the child instead of about our own annoyance about her pitching her fit and how annoying that is, right? Okay. This is what we do. This is what I do all day long. Obviously, I'll show you my own examples and show you that I am not perfect. That's a joke. Clearly, obviously, I'm not perfect. None of us are, but you are a good mom. Okay. When you believe that you are a good mom, then you show up as the mom that you already are. Let me teach you how to do it. Okay. dropthewarlifecoach.com/believe to learn more about that. And I'll see you next time. Maybe it's later today. Maybe it's next week. Who knows? You never know when these podcasts are going to drop. Keep you on your toes. Okay. Till next time. Bye.